welcome to a new game for this channel, the one that I've been playing in my spare time for a few months now, and that's Paladins. If you've not tried it before, it's in the de rigueur style of class-based, team-based FPSs. But as we all know, that covers quite a broad range of titles and playstyles these days. It's probably closer to Overwatch than it is to Dirty Bomb, and yet still manages to mix parts of each with a dash of MOBA to create a genuinely new feel. You're going to notice classes or abilities that seem familiar if you're arriving from a Blizzard angle. But to suggest that Overwatch can lay sole claim to these abilities is to forget the deep respect and foundation that it itself has in classic MOBA and FPS games. Indeed, it's that extra dash of MOBA that I find most interesting about Paladins. Unlike Overwatch and even Dirty Bomb, there's no character changing mid-map, so the actual design of each feels closer to the centre ground. There's no edge of design characters like, say, Mercy, who are almost totally dependent on teammates for their utility and survival. Before you've even queued into a match, you can spend some time customizing how that individual character plays by adjusting their loadout. These cards are part of a suite of items you can unlock from crates or buy individually with in-game currency. There are a number of cards for each ability that a character has, normally covering things like cooldown time, strength of that ability, and so on. When you've selected 5 cards, you then get to award each card a strength, with 12 tokens to distribute amongst the cards you've selected. Once you're happy, you simply save it as a named loadout to select as the match starts. It's a easy-to-learn system with a fair bit of intricacy. You may like a specific tank character, but hate the lack of movement. Well, this way you can probably lower the cooldowns of the abilities you enjoy using and tune the whole experience of playing that character to your preference. Matches take place over a fair number of maps. Some suit characters more than others, but you learn the ebb and flow of the maps with reasonable speed. The main game modes are arguably Siege and Payload, with a new Onslaught option added more recently. Anyone familiar with TF2 or Overwatch style maps will soon get the hang of things. You need to capture points and escort objectives and so on. Onslaught is a new sort of hybrid mode with one capture area and the team awarded points for kills and holding the zone uncontested. There's quite a number of maps too, 9 for Siege, 3 for Payload, and 2 for the new Onslaught. As for characters, well, there's frankly loads of those too, 28 at the current count, and seemingly more added on a really surprisingly regular basis. They break down in a semi-expected style. There's DPS, or damage as they're called, support, tank, or front line as they're called, and the aloof and mobile flank champions. This stuff here you're going to have seen before, but even that is served in a different manner. Say, if you like AoE healing, then there's a hippie tree called Grover who'd like to make your acquaintance. If you like Overwatch's Soldier 76, you might want to try Victor with his aim down sight option. But to be honest, I'd probably point you in the direction of Tyra. She's like a badass with good hipfire, a rocket, Molotov, and a super minigun ultimate ability. There's aliens riding robots, supports creating multiple illusions of themselves to heal allies, flying flower pixies with debuffs, and that's even before we get to the snake guy, whose pet snake heals, and oh yeah, he throws it at the enemies when he reloads. There's no lack of originality in the character design here. But this seems like a good time to talk about the pachyderm in the room. We live in a world where Overwatch exists. It's incredibly popular, and even though budgets and development team sizes may vary enormously, it tends to colour judgments over how FPS titles should look and behave. Paladins is using the long-standing UE3 engine, and I have no doubt that the devs will have customised it a lot, but it's not in the same league as the surreally good Overwatch engine. The performance isn't as high, and the general graphical fidelity just doesn't have that modern day feel. That's not to say that the game looks bad. Indeed, the slightly cartoony art direction plays to the engine's strengths. But if you look at things like shadow accuracy, it's clear that this free-to-play game isn't operating with cutting-edge technology. Another criticism I'd raise is probably the character design itself. There's originality, as I said, but it feels a bit one-dimensional. Again, if you look at Overwatch, or even another free-to-play title like Dirty Bomb, you'll find a bit of backstory, or some in-game callouts that allude to the character's nature, give glimpses of how they see the world and maybe a bit of humour. Paladins feels like it prioritizes visual and gameplay design over rounded narratives and character design. There's none of the depth of Overwatch or that signature wit of Dirty Bomb. After saying all that, I'm not trying to downplay what is here. The elements of a good game are present. In fact, this is probably going to annoy some people, I often prefer the balance of Paladins to Overwatch. The lack of the rock, paper, scissors counters makes encounters in game feel like there's more room to play your way out of a situation, or even tune how the match is going by buying items during the game. There's also quality of life stuff like riding mounts. If you've ever played a slow character attempting to get back to your team, you do that slow, trudging walk of shame back from spawn, you know how frustrating that can feel. Well, in Paladins, everybody rides a mount out of spawn until you take damage or let it stop. It's such a simple thing that fits so naturally into the style of these games. The monetization isn't quite the level playing field that a full-price title like Overwatch can offer. In a similar style to Dirty Bomb and countless MOBAs, you can use some characters and unlock others through in-game play. Though to be honest, I'd say that I chose to put money into the game fairly early after starting. The reason being, they offer a Founders Pack that gives you a bunch of stuff like boxes and currency and so on. But the clincher for me was not only the inclusion of all the current characters, but also all the future characters as well. How much? Well, for me it was about £16 in the UK, which is about $20 in the US. On the other hand, I'm not a big fan of the premium in-game currency, but I've earned a fair amount of it by doing like missions, events and so on, so I've never actually bought that currency directly. But all in all, I've seen much worse ways to monetize a free-to-play title if you want access to all the characters. Keep in mind that there are some referral options as well. If you refer people who go on to play the game, you can earn in-game currency and even unlock some unique cosmetics. So if you and your friends decide to check the game out, please don't forget to use one of their referral links or codes. You can find them on your account page on the Paladin site. And if I could be cheeky, you could always just use the code LCTR if you fancy throwing me a referral too. So what do you think of Paladins? I know this may be a title that people have passed over as a simple discount Overwatch or some other Twitch chat meme. I do hope that I've given you some reasons why I feel that this is not only unwarranted but also unfair. But I'm interested in what you think. Have you tried Paladins before? Are you considering trying it in the future? Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Thanks a bunch for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave some feedback, tap that thumb up button and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free and it helps me out a lot. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at LCTR Games. There's a link in the description below. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you next time. Take care.